access is one thing. Issue of fundraising is another, because that's, to be honest, that's one of the ways in which Nigerian political parties raise funding. But what about the integrity of the election itself? For example, cases where candidates at the top end of the ticket pay, or aspirants, obtain the nomination forms for and pay for candidates at the lower rung of the same ticket. So, for example, I am vying for the presidency, and then I buy like 10 nomination forms for governors, buy like 20 for senators and House of Reps, and so on. Is that not altogether monetizing or increasing the monetization of the election in ways that, like you said, may not be healthy?
I think, Mr. Suleiman, you have made it absolutely clear. If we have a scenario in which politicians who are of means ended up buying nomination form for themselves and then trickling down the process to governors, to local government chairmen, members of the National Assembly, and so on, we are evolving a political system centered around godfatherism, where you find one individual politician exercising absolute control over a whole lot of others. And that has the potential to create a problem for our democracy. Although partnerships, friendships, groupings are allowed in politics, but to a very large extent, every politician should have the opportunity and privilege to exercise some amount of freedom, especially when it comes to the exercise of power and authority, and when it comes to taking decisions for and on behalf of Nigerians. And that is why, if you take a look around what is happening in Nigeria today, you find politicians behaving like leaders of cult, asserting themselves over other politicians, suppressing the free will of other politicians even to aspire to contest for elections. You hear politicians claiming, I have sponsored so and so, I have raised so and so, from my enclave, this person was made who he is, and so therefore he doesn't have the privilege to think freely about his personal ambition as a politician, or even to take decisions that have to do with his role as a politician and leader in society. So you are absolutely correct. We have a problem when a large chunk of people cannot afford to take up nomination forms, to take up expression of interest forms on their own, and they ended up being controlled by politicians who have large chunk of money, and it therefore departs from a full democracy to another system where you see absolute control of the hierarchy from the top. People are controlling others down the line. Let me quickly say, like I have said in the beginning, that I have taken account of all the contestants on the platform of the All Progressive Congress. And I can tell you that a significant number of them, let's say 90%, I'm even thinking, even the last person to express his interest, was it Mala Aminu or who? I think they all have the capacity to generate the support, from the electorate to be able to afford the nomination form. That is not a problem. But when you leave the office of the president, like you rightly said, and then you approach the states and local governments, you see where the dilemma is, where this system of charging exorbitant nomination forms will create a scenario.
50 million for a governor,
50 million for a governor, for example, 20 million for Senate, and perhaps 10 million for reps, and 2 million.
It's correct. For 10 million for senators.
It has the potential to exclude quite a number of credible candidates. Recently I have been close to the Osembajo campaign, and I've examined what they do, and I know it is the aspiration of the vice president not to play money politics. So if it were the wish of the vice president, I'm pretty sure he will have aspired for something slightly or even far less than what has been agreed. But he's a loyal party member.
We have just heard now from the Tinubu support group that they are going to buy the form on behalf of their candidate, Tinubu. This is perfectly legitimate in politics. How is the vice president going to get his form?
I can't tell you, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm sure also that there are the opportunities for crowdfunding. It's possible that a large chunk of his supporters, it's possible that friends and associates, remember, he is a professor, he is a cleric, he's a senior advocate of Nigeria with a long-standing period of legal practice. So I think he must have generated quite a number of friends and well-wishers who will equally be able to get the form for him. But I know from his philosophy as a human being and as an intellectual, he will have preferred to underplay the role of money in politics.